Cummins with the ball. He's on the run. Shooting chance now for James Cummins. Drops into the hands of Johnny Mooney in the Rathkeale goal. Rathkeale will come away with this one. I'll give you a quick check of the teams. Rathkeale have possession of their own 21-metre line. It's Johnny Mooney in goals. Full back line of Jack Hennessy, Audrey Power and Shane Horgan. Half back line, Patrick Sheehan, Patrick McGee. Lara Brady is coming for Paul Roy just before the show. And Adam Shanahan breaks up the half back line for Rathkeale. Midfield is Matthew Morrison, Kevin Shanahan, it's Galbally coming away with the ball once more. Half forward now, Patrick Wilmot, Owen O'Donnell, Barry Coleman, full forward line, Andrew White, Keith Short and Mark Kelly. It's Galbally in possession just outside Rathkeale 45, all the way back now. It's Galbally looking to make it again. It's Cummins with the ball in there. Shooting opportunity here for Galbally. Could be the first point of the game. A decent effort for Jamie Morrison.
Yeah, points go to the Seagans there, John. And Jamie he dropped the shot, the first one. He certainly made no mistake. This lad is a very good young footballer. And he played quite a bit of football in the half-back line, but they have him moved forward this year. And he's one of those players that's adaptable to lead the game. As you can see that, second, he wasn't ready for the second chance. He just kept moving along.
Rathkeale in possession now, eventually it's on the left here. Shorten lines this one up. And Shorten has levelled things here, Matt. 5.5 minutes gone, a point apiece.
Yeah, you're right. You flagged it. It was a difficult enough kick, particularly for a right-footed kicker. It should be meat and drink if he was a left-footed kicker. But he made it his own. Only just, mind you, from what we could see here. But it's a leveller, and Cian Shorten is that kind of player that he will punish those from those kind of distances, and even from further out. That's a great catch by John Kearns.
These was John Kearns coming out from full forward to take that catch and win the mark, and it's James Ryan now moving the ball forward for Galbally. Galbally in possession now, comes all the way back to Liam Casey as Galbally look to build up an attack here into Jamie Morrissey, who scored their only point of the game thus far. Morrissey now holding on to the ball, holding on to possession, eventually leaves it off to Michael Donovan, and Donovan now looking to take on a couple of players. He beats Barry Coleman with ease, and it's Donovan, very hard man to catch when he gets going. It's a certain foul. The referee Jason Mullins doesn't give a foul, strange one in my eyes anyway, but it's Rathkeale either way coming away with the ball, and now it's Patrick Sheehan, their captain. He leaves the ball off to Padraig Power, and Power as Andrew White here all on his own over on the far side here in the Gaelic grounds. Nearly 7 minutes gone here of this intermediate football championship final, and it's 1 point apiece between Rathkeale and Galbally. It's Rathkeale on the attack now with Owen O'Donnell. O'Donnell gives the ball inside to one of his full forward members, but on that occasion it was Owen Kelly. He leaves it off to O'Grady. Darragh O'Grady back to Kelly, and indeed back inside to Owen O'Donnell once more. O'Donnell now with the luminous orange boots manages to find it away to O'Grady, and then again back to Andrew White. White 45 metres from the Galbally goal leaves the ball off to Barry Coleman. Coleman with one into Shorten. Shorten had it, then he lost it, but still a chance for Rathkeale to come away with the ball with Mikey Morrissey, and Morrissey does well to even have any chance of winning that ball and give it the ball back to Patrick Sheehan. Sheehan inside to Shorten. Shorten looking to fashion a shooting opportunity. It's on his left foot. It's his weaker of the 2 feet. It's tailed. Set it out far from the left hand post. Didn't come back enough, Matt, but we're going to have a free. Shorten was fouled before for a tug back. And Matt, another chance for Cian Shorten. Another good build up from Rathkeale on several occasions. Did well to keep that move going.
Yeah, you were saying there, just to roll back a small bit about the foul or what we perceive from here to be a foul on Mike Donovan. I think in defence of the referee, he was very near the scene of the action, and he saw exactly what happened. Now this is slightly more difficult in that it's further out, and again he's taking with the right foot, and it got there. He got it. I think he got it more convincingly actually than the last one, but Rathkeale are prepared to be patient. Now they have a fairly stiff breeze against them. Now this is something that Galbally, playing against the breeze in the first half, may be well prepared for, because you will recall in the semi-final with Palace Green there was a storm, and Galbally played it against it in the first half and turned over just a point down, and I think they probably surprised Palace on that particular night, because they did not retreat into a defensive shell as you would expect to defend against the breeze. They actually took the game to Palace Green. Now they're not doing it to the same extent yet tonight, but of course they're not being allowed to do so. But the breeze is not as strong. But you have to admire the patience of Rathkeale and their build up and the way they're moving it through the hands. And I suppose a lot of that is credit to Killian Fair, whose reputation as a coach is rapidly growing, and like this man has seen it all. Like back in his native Cavan, through London, and more recently with Drum Bradford, and he has won county senior medals with Cavan Gales, with St Brendan's in London, and more recently with Drum Bradford. A very, very experienced performer, a really fastly rising coach.
It's 2 points to 1 here to Rathkeale after nearly 10 minutes of this Limerick Intermediate Football Championship final. There's Galbally on the attack once more as James Cummins in possession again. He leaves the ball off in front of him. The corner forward, Ger Quinlan. Quinlan now looking to fashion a shooting chance. That's going to tail to the left and wide. As Matt was just saying, we're going to have a blood sub on here for Rathkeale. It's their captain Patrick Sheehan, who's been forced off, as you may have seen a couple of moments ago. And on for him is Dean Mohan. Dean wearing number 16, but it's going to be a Rathkeale kick out now with Johnny Mooney to take. Patrick Wilmot in front of us, making good movement for him, but it's a straight kick out, and it's going to be more possession here for Rathkeale, who've started this game very brightly. Out to Darragh O'Grady now. And so Grady gives it back inside to Wilmot. Wilmot, who's seen a lot of the ball in these early stages, early opening 10 minutes, leaves the ball off to O'Donnell. Wilmot makes himself available again. He's going to be fouled. Foul is committed there by David Cusson. He's going to get a word in the ear from Jason Mullins. It's only a short word, but it's going to be another chance, Matt O'Callaghan, for Cian Shorten. He's shown what he can do from place balls twice already. They keep making it harder for him with each free, but again, given what he's done the first two, given the fact that he has a fairly stiff breeze within his advantage, it's a chance he may well get.
It's a third one in terms of angle from the goal in the exact same position, but the distance is getting longer. It's the furthest out of the three now. I suppose he's a good 5 yards. You must remember, Ger Ryan almost caught the last one, so this will be very interesting. He needs to get more purchase on this one. The last one just got over the bar.
It's Shorten once more. He's definitely got more purchase. He's had a better connection with that than any of the previous two, and Rathkeale now into 3 points to 1 lead over Galbally in its Intermediate Football Championship final, brought to you on sportinglimerick.com. 12 minutes played, Matt, and you have to be impressed by Rathkeale's start.
Yeah, very impressed. They've been very, very lively, and they have been sure-footed with their passing and well able to keep ball, and like Galbally aren't able to force them into error. And certainly in terms of physicality, you would have to say it's advantage Galbally, but I suppose in the wide spaces of the Gaelic grounds, young fresh legs like this and young fellas full of running, and this is what Rathkeale have, and they are full of running. The trick will be to maintain it for 60 minutes. Indeed
it will, as Galbally on the attack here. It's going to be a foul on John Kearns, maybe 50 metres from goal. It's going to be taken quickly. It's a poor enough pass down. So Rathkeale come away with the ball through Jack Hennessy. Hennessy has options. He gives it inside to Adam Shannon. It's going to go all the way back to Johnny Mooney as a restart another attack, with Barry Coleman here taking the ball inside his own 14 metre line. He's got up to the 45 metre line without any challenge whatsoever as Galbally funnel back. And here comes Patrick Wilmot again. We've already mentioned Wilmot in commentary a number of times already. Seen a lot of the ball here in the opening 13 minutes of this final. And it's Rathkeale over the far side with Andrew White. Perfectly happy to take his time with his build-up and move the ball eventually. But it's a ball in eventually, but it's straight down the throat of a Galbally defender. It's Galbally come away with it now. But under pressure from Rathkeale, but it's Galbally. Zone O'Donnell's pass in that time, attempted ball into Cian Shorten, but it's Galbally who come away with it. James Ryan now gives it out to his midfield partner. That's David Cusson. Cusson on the run now, and it's up instead to Mark Quinlan. Quinlan with the ball. He doesn't have any options in front of him, this Quinlan, so he's going to have to go it alone. He's doing a good job of it under pressure from Owen O'Donnell so far. It's Quinlan eventually with the shot. That's gone very, very well to the left and very much wide, Matt, and fairly indicative of the first few minutes here, the opening quarter, where Mark Quinlan made a good run, but he's zero options in front of him.
No, that's exactly it, John, and no options. Contrast that with Rathkeale when there's a player on the run. There's sometimes 1, 2 and 3 showing, and there's a player very, very often on the shoulder. Mark Quinlan was left with no choice whatsoever but to kick from distance, kick from an awkward angle. And he spectacularly missed, but no fault to the guy. It was that we have a threat here for Galbally.
We do indeed. It's a goal chance here. It's a brilliant goal from John Kearns. In fact, it's James Cummins with the goal, I think, Matt, is it? It's hard to see the Galbally numbers. We'll just confirm that. It looks like James Cummins from here at the moment. We'll check that in a second. Either way, it was a quick free taken by Galbally. Ball worked into Cummins, and Cummins turned his man. Beautiful left-footed shot into the corner, Matt. That's just the fill-up that Galbally needed.
That is the fill-up, and this is what they did in the semi-final as well. They went down and got an early goal, and they rocked Palace Green. It now looks that the initiative and the momentum has swung very much with Galbally. Of course, can they drive on now? But certainly, Rathkeale look for a moment or two as if they're rocked by the goal.
It's James Ryan now on the attack for Galbally. Ryan now eventually brought back for a free. Referee Jason Mullins playing advantage. But Matt, it's a great fill-up, as we mentioned, for Galbally, a badly needed one, as there'll be a break in play here now. A couple of players injured, and one of them is Ger Quinlan from the Galbally side. Seems to be holding a shoulder, but up to that moment, Rathkeale had been dominating. That goal came from absolutely nowhere.
It came from absolutely nothing, and Rathkeale were playing all the football. They were putting all the good moves together, and we had just been critical of Mark Quinlan not having options. And suddenly now there's a spring in Galbally step. They have gone back down. What they didn't do for the first quarter of an hour, Rathkeale, they fumbled in that particular situation, and now we have a Galbally free. Now it's a difficult free into the wind. Gary McCarthy is a very, very accomplished free taker, and a lot of experience right up through the edges as a free taker. But this one, John, is from distance and it's into the breeze.
He's decided to take it short, as Matt was saying there. It's back to McCarthy again here. Shooting chance. He's trying to get one for himself. Eventually leaves the ball off. It's Galbally now going to be patient with it. In fact, they don't. It's a fairly aimless effort in the end from Jamie Morrissey. Needless chance there. If Galbally should have been more patient, but either way, it's Rathkeale coming away with the ball. It's Adam Shanahan has a man in space over on that far side, and it's going to be Andrew White trying to launch another attack here for Rathkeale. White decides to come in field, and he finds Patrick Wilmot now just around midfield. And they come all the way over to this right hand side. It's Patrick Sheehan, of course, went off 5 or 6 minutes ago with a blood sub, was replaced by Dean Mohan, but as you can see, he's back on the field, as again Wilmot works the ball out to Andrew White, and over the far side again here from a Rathkeale point of view, it's full back. Podrick Powers come out of that position. It's to Owen O'Donnell with a shooting chance. It's a very tricky angle for Owen O'Donnell, but that's a fantastic score, and we're all square here again, the Gaelic grounds. Galbally 1-1 and Rathkeale 4 points. Matt, stunning score from Owen O'Donnell.
An excellent score, and I suppose in terms of the goal they conceded, it's an excellent response, and Rathkeale will be delighted with it. He just looked up and he judged it to perfection, and of course he had the breeze in his favour, but he still had a bit of work to do. What was it? It was possibly 35 metres out, way out on the left, but for a right-footed kicker, he certainly nailed it.
Kick out there from Ger Ryan in the Galbally goal, but again it's Rathkeale coming out with it. Free awarded to them on this occasion. It's going to be taken quickly by Barry Coleman. Coleman looking for Cian Shorten. Chance inside. Shorten was hit late. Referee Mullins plays away. And it's Galbally that will eventually come out with it. All square here in the Gaelic grounds. 18.5 minutes nearly played of this Limerick Intermediate Football Championship final, brought to you on SportingLimerick.com. It's Galbally now trying to move the ball forward. Good turn there from cornerback Tom Davern, captain in this Galbally side. Comes into James Ryan, the vastly experienced James Ryan. And it's going to be another attack. Good run from Mark Quinlan. We've seen him do this already tonight. That's Quinlan on the run once again. The last time he went up, he's no options in front of him. This time he has 2 or 3 players ahead of him. But Quinlan still goes under pressure from Darragh O'Grady, wearing number 20 in the Rathkeale side. Has to come back to James Ryan, does Quinlan, and Ryan brings it over the left hand side here to Liam Casey, the centre back for Galbally. Casey looking to take off and run. He's a bit of space for Casey to run to. Shooting opportunity for Liam Casey, and that's a superb score from Liam Casey. Very good build up. In fact, it's gone to the right and wide. It looked, for all the money from our angle in the commentary box, Matt O'Callaghan, that had gone over the bar, but it's been waved to the left and wide.
I thought it had actually gone over the bar, and I'd say Liam Casey thought it had gone over the bar, because he had that satisfied look about him when he turned away. But it's John Hurley that's the umpire down there, and John is an experienced official, and it obviously was wide. It's actually hard to judge it. It's hard to judge it from the angle. Judge it with certainty from the angle. I think this free now is after being moved forward, possibly for verbals.
It seems to have been. It's going to be another chance. Rathkeale kind of deciding what they're going to do. It's going to be taken short either way. Barry Coleman giving the ball all the way out to Andrew White. In fact, it's not Andrew White, sorry, it's Podrick Power moving forward again into Owen O'Donnell. O'Donnell just put over a superb score, and he's looking dangerous again here. O'Donnell fashions himself a shooting chance. Another effort from O'Donnell. This one definitely looks to be good again. That's another fine score from Owen O'Donnell on the Rathkeale side. Galbally had been warned just moments ago about his shooting ability, and Matt, they didn't take heed of that warning.
No, it's 1-2 from O'Donnell. They were essentially both were in practically exactly the same position. It was a copybook, but certainly the players around him got the ball to him, and like that's terribly important, as we saw in the senior final on Sunday when Ballylanders were able to get the ball to the finishers in the first half. It paid dividends, and certainly that is what Rathkeale are doing at the moment. But they're 2 excellent points by O'Donnell. Of course, O'Donnell is a survivor from the 2013 side. He was a very young player at that stage, and he obviously now has gathered a lot of experience since.
It's Mark Quinlan with an attempted shot there for Galbally. It was brilliantly blocked down by Adam Shanner, but it's Galbally still on the attack. It's worked all the way back to Liam Casey. Rathkeale be wary of him after the last run he made right through the middle of their defence. In the end, the shot went wide, but either way, it's Galbally on the attack again, and it's James Cummins' effort. It was a very well missed hit. It was a very poor enough shot. It nearly fell to Galbally full forward man. On that occasion, it was Ger Quinlan who looked to be getting towards the ball. Didn't make it, Matt. And it was a poor enough effort of a shot. Nearly broke from, would have been a goal chance. As Rathkeale come back, we'll get back to Matt O'Callaghan in a couple of moments after this attack. Patrick Sheehan with the ball, moving it forward along this right hand side here. As Rathkeale look to add to their lead, they currently lead 5 points to 1-1. It's Patrick Wilmot who on possession for Rathkeale. Given to his captain Patrick Sheehan. They work the ball back out to Owen Kelly, and it's going to come all the way to this left hand side. It's paid dividends the last couple of attacks. It's Padraig Power with it. Power gives it into Shorten, tightly marked, but Shorten loses his footing. He manages to keep onto the ball, gives the ball, eventually comes back to Andrew White. Shooting chance for Andrew White. It's a high one from Andrew White, but it's a good one again, and Rathkeale go into a 6 points to 1-1 lead, Matt, with 22 minutes played here. We'll just go back to that score in a moment, but Matt, you wanted to say something about that last Galbally attack.
It just brought out what we had said earlier, that when James Cummins was in possession there, that was the only option that was really on, and it nearly came off. Had he not undercooked it, certainly Rathkeale were going to be in trouble. They were exposed because he had gone in and they just got a hand to deflect it away. But again, that's an excellent point, and that's 3 in a row, first class, top quality points from the Rathkeale forwards. Andrew White played a lot of very experienced player, young player, but a very experienced player at underage level.
It's Mark Quinlan on the run here for Galbally, but his hand pass, his runs are causing problems, just his finishing at times, would it be a pass or a shot, is just letting him down a little bit as Rathkeale come away again. It's Barry Coleman with possession, under pressure from David Cusson. Coleman manages to give it inside, and it's Paul Sheehan, the Rathkeale captain, who has possession now. They're going to work it out this left hand side again, and it's Andrew White to Wilmot. O'Donnell on his outside, but Wilmot decides to hold on to the ball on this occasion. He gives it back inside to Andrew White. White, looking at his options, decides to give it long. He finds Cian Shorten with that long delivery. Shorten with a shooting chance. He decides to give it across, a goal chance maybe. There was a chance if Owen Kelly was able to get possession, but he was brilliantly intercepted, and I think that's John Kearns all the way back there, Matt. And it's Galbally coming away with the ball again. Indeed it was John Kearns, and it's Galbally on the attack. And it's Ger Quinlan with possession for them. He manages to give it off and then takes it back again, and eventually comes to Cusson. Then back again to Ger Quinlan. Good defending from Rathkeale. They're stopping that attack, that movement. Done well to stop on that occasion. It's Jamie Morrissey now for Galbally. Up against Patrick Sheehan, the Rathkeale captain. Morrissey with not many options has been a feature of this first half from a Galbally point of view. Not many options in attack, certainly not enough. Comes all the way back to David Cusson. Cusson looks for Cummins on his right shoulder, and it's Cummins on the run. James Cummins now with the ball. In fact, that's Michael Donovan with the ball. As Matt O'Callaghan mentioned earlier, it's very difficult to see the numbers on these Galbally jerseys, but we're doing our best from the commentary box at the moment. Mark Quinlan, that's certainly Mark Quinlan with the ball. We've seen him run tirelessly in this opening 24, nearly 25 minutes. Gives the ball off to James Ryan. Ryan now with a chance. Man on his out on his right hand side. It's not the best of passes from James Ryan. There's still a shooting opportunity. It's a good touch. Chance comes back out to James Ryan. Shooting chance for James Ryan. It's a decent enough angle for James Ryan, but it's tailed to the right and wide. And Matt, it was a very patient build-up from Galbally, but ultimately it was fine defending from Rathkeale in the end that put the shooting man under pressure.
It had to be patient, and the shooting man had to be under pressure, because for that entire passage of play there were no fewer than 13 Rathkeale players inside their own 65 and working on the defensive strategy. They're defending on numbers. Now, that can be a high risk strategy in that it can be energy sapping, but it's certainly frustrating the Galbally forward so far.
Another chance for Rathkeale as Matt's ascribing that last Galbally attack. It's gone to the left and wide, and great chance for Owen O'Donnell to score his third point of the game. Initially, it was a great catch from Barry Coleman from Johnny Mooney's kick out. Great run after the catch from Coleman, laid it inside to O'Donnell, but O'Donnell, surprisingly, given the fact that it was straight in front of the goals, and especially given the fact that he'd scored two from more difficult angles before that, as Galbally come on the attack once more. It's Michael Donovan on the attack for them, down that right hand side, faced by Barry Coleman. As Rathkeale funnel back once more, it's Donovan on the run. Donovan now faced by two Rathkeale defenders, and not for the first time, as Matt O'Callaghan just pointed out. It's Rathkeale come away with the ball, and it's been a feature of the game this opening 26 and a half minutes, their ability to counter-attack. It's Kevin Shanahan with the ball from Rathkeale. He's the man who lays it off to Andrew White. White now plays the ball down looking for Owen Kelly, but it's Galbally come away with it, and it's James Ryan gives it to Casey. Liam Casey coming away with the ball for Galbally, gives the ball out to Tom Davern, comes all the way back to James Ryan. Ryan hand pass into Mark Quinlan. Quinlan, as we've mentioned, is only too happy to run with the ball in hand. He's under pressure there. He's definitely been pulled back by Mikey Morrissey on that occasion. It's going to be a free to Galbally, Matt. And Mark Quinlan, to be fair to him, has done a serious amount of running in this first half.
Mark Quinlan has, and this is a guy that played 60 minutes for Garrisbillan on Saturday in the county final. But Rathkeale, we spoke about him being patient up front. They're patient at the back because they have numbers at the back, and what they're hoping, of course, and what they're succeeding to do is force the turnover and break at speed, because they have speedsters who can hurt Galbally, and they're drawing Galbally with him now. Gary McCarthy has this one sent wide.
It's a good chance for Gary McCarthy. It was a tough one into the breeze, though, it has to be said, and that's just tail to right. He put it fairly high up into the air on that occasion, but it's another missed chance for Galbally. And with nearly 28 minutes played, it's Rathkeale leading them 6 points to 1-1 in this Limerick Intermediate Football Championship final, brought to you live on sportinglimerick.com from the Gaelic grounds, as Johnny Mooney gets play underway with a kick out that reaches his own 65-yard line. It's 65-metre line. John Kearns, who got a hand to it, he fisted the ball hoping it would fall to one of his teammates. It hasn't. It's gone over the Mackey Stanton sideline here in the Gaelic grounds. It's going to be Shane Horrigan to take that. It's a good ball across from Shane Horrigan, but they nearly lost possession, but they managed to hold on to it through Barry Coleman. Coleman then back to Patrick Sheehan. It's been a feature of Rathkeale's play. They're very, very happy to move the ball from left to right or right to left, whatever it takes their fancy at the time. As Adam Shanahan now gives it back to his full-back, Padraig Power. Power has Andrew White outside him. He decides to go along with it down the line in the first instance. He eventually gives it back to Andrew White, and again they'll work it across the field. Darragh O'Grady is his option over on this side. It's a beautiful pass to Darragh O'Grady. O'Grady, big man, beats John Kearns with ease, and again gives it into Shane Horrigan. Shane Horrigan is fouled. Clear foul from Liam Casey. He had his arms around his hips. And it's going to be 1 minute of added time here. We've 29 minutes played, so there's 2 minutes left in this first half. Cian Shorten's coming all the way out to take this one. It's going to be an attempt from 45 metres. Jason Mullins has brought that free forward again, maybe, as Matt mentioned earlier, for a bit of verbals. In fact, he hasn't. Cian Shorten was trying to get a couple of metres, I think, Matt. In the end, it's going to be Shorten. He was looking to give it back 25 metres back to Barry Coleman, who was lingering around midfield there. It's going to be Shorten from the ground, though. The first 3 frees he's hit in this game have been from his hands. It's a fair old distance, 50 metres, even with the aid of a strong breeze here in the Gaelic grounds. It's Cian Shorten now looking to extend Rathkeale's lead to 3 points. It's a fine strike from Shorten, and it's a fantastically struck free from Cian Shorten. His 4th free of the game, Matt. And we've mentioned each time he's lined up a free, it gets harder each time. I know this one was a 45 from 50 odd metres, Matt, and that's a cracking free.
That was a cracking free, and unusually, which you see rarely these days, is it was kicked off the ground, but kicked off the ground with precision. I have a sense that Ger Fahy, the Galbally manager here, and his coach John Dunnigan, they just can't wait to get their lads in, because their whole, they haven't established any sort of a pattern of any type of consistent pattern, or they haven't found any sense of rhythm in the game so far. And I suppose the scoreboard doesn't lie, because if you extrapolate the goal out of it, Rathkeale would have been in a much stronger position, but goals count and goals win matches. But certainly, apart from that goal, they haven't threatened to the extent.
It's another long-range attempt here from Galbally, and it's another attempt that's gone to the left and wide. And again, it's fantastic defending from Rathkeale. It has to be said, who have a couple of men down now. Patrick Wilmot, who's been very influential, certainly from a ball-carrying point of view in this first half, as Jason Mullins calls a halt to this opening half of this Limerick Intermediate Football Championship final here in the Gaelic grounds. It's Rathkeale leading Galbally 7 points to 1-1. Matt O'Callaghan, where do back into this game?
Well, it's only 3 points. It's very doable. It's very manageable. But I'm not so sure that it is that manageable with the way they have played. They have found no level of consistency at all through the game. And as I was saying to you there towards the end of commentary, if you extrapolate the goal out of it, it would be 7 points to 1. All right, it's 7 points to 4. And I suppose it's fair to say that does it fully reflect the type of play and the approach of Rathkeale? I would say it doesn't. I would think that Galbally can count themselves somewhat fortunate to be within 3 points of Rathkeale on what we have seen in the first half. Now, there was a strong breeze there, and Rathkeale, particularly as the half wore on, funneled back in greater numbers, and Galbally were becoming frustrated, and I think we highlighted it a couple of times during the commentary that the player in possession, the Galbally player in possession, had very few, or in some cases no option, and like we saw it a couple of times, and totally unlike what we're seeing here with Rathkeale, where they have their runners, where they have the free man, the ball carrier, and the man in possession can look up. Sometimes there are more than one. There are 2, there are 3 options. Now, this is it's a high intensity strategy that Rathkeale are bringing to the game. I suppose in many ways it's an ideal evening for it. Ground conditions are perfect. The prevailing climate is cool, so like you would be able to sustain it. What I feel about it is we've seen 32 minutes of play, and normally in every half a team gets their period on top. I'd say you could say in that first half Galbally weren't on top for no more than 3 or 4 minutes, which was around the time of the goal and immediately afterwards, and there were signs that they were breaking Rathkeale's grip in the game. But certainly Rathkeale found their rhythm very, very quickly again, which is a good sign of a team, mind you. And I think Galbally have a lot of work to do in the second half. It's doable. I'm just looking there at their bench. I'm just wondering, will they be tempted to make changes, and what changes might they make? Could we see Kieran Hickey in the second half? Could we see Cathal Shanahan in the second half? But looking at the configuration of the Galbally team, all the defence apart from Mark Quinlan are the most experienced players in it. And of course James Ryan is very, very experienced with another young player, David Cusson. But apart from John Kearns, the forwards are youngsters. And I'm just wondering, do they need to bring in a seasoned head up there? Because we saw him running into blind alleys, running out of options in the first half. Do they need to bring in somebody to steady it down? And like as I said, I would be thinking of somebody like Kieran Hickey, or possibly Jack Donovan. Bring him into the edge of the square and put the ball in there. He's quite capable of causing a lot of problems. Or do they go for another experienced head like Owen Burke? I don't know. Galbally have a lot of thinking to do. Ger Fahy and his coach, John Dunnigan. John Dunnigan is a Cork man from Mitchelstown, and a very, very experienced coach who dipped his toes in the English League at one stage as a goalkeeper. But he's a very renowned coach and has a track record as a coach. They'll earn their keep over the next 10 minutes to come up with a plan to counteract Rathkeale.
As Matt O'Callaghan from the Weekly Observer Vale Star said, it's all Rathkeale in that first half and Galbally with it all to do. We'll be back for the second half shortly. The Gaelic grounds for the second half of this Limerick Intermediate Football Championship final between Rathkeale and Galbally. It's Rathkeale leading at half time, 7 points to 1-1. That goal coming from Michael Donovan from Galbally point of view. It's Rathkeale that are dominant though, but it's Galbally as we prepare to start the second half at referee Jason Mullins, waiting for everyone getting back into position. Playing with the advantage of this strong breeze in the second half, and Matt O'Callaghan, we were mentioning there at half time, and discussing different things. You mentioned it there in your post first half talk that Galbally need to do something. Doesn't appear that they've made a substitution as of yet, willing to go with the 15 that started the game, but if things don't go right they'll have to introduce someone fairly quickly.
Yeah, well they seem to be placing Mike Donovan at midfield this year for this half, which is a position in which he has played an awful lot of football and has been very effective there. So he's there with James Ryan, so they're going to be pretty strong in that area, but that position players tend to get drawn out of it all the time now. It's not as effective as it used to be, or as important as it used to be, but we have a chance here for Rathkeale. It's gone wide.
Yeah, it was Kevin Shanahan's ball across. It was kind of a half ball in, looking for Cian Shorten and a half shot, but either way it's going to be Ger Ryan for Galbally goalkeeper to take this kick out. It's Galbally trailing by 7 points. Rathkeale, leading 7 points to 1-1. And Ryan, with the aid of a strong breeze, as we've already mentioned, heading into the city end here in the Gaelic grounds. Ryan with a kick out that's going to bring it just around his own 65-metre line, and John Kearns with a fantastic catch, then wins a free. It's Owen O'Donnell with the foul. It's going to be taken by Liam Casey. Liam Casey looking to do it quickly. He finds James Ryan. Ryan now with a long balling, quicker delivery into the full forward line. It's Gary McCarthy with possession. Chance here for Galbally. Eventually the shot comes off. It's going to tail to the left and wide. It's not the best of efforts. It was Jamie Morrissey with that shot. In fact, no, it wasn't. It was James Cummins with the shot. And Matt, a needless attempt from James Cummins. Never looked like scoring that one. Again, John, where were the options? Like the build-up play, James Ryan worked it well. Gary McCarthy knocked it back into the path of James Cummins. James Cummins was left with nobody available. Indeed he was, and it's Galbally on the attack again. This time it's Ger Quinlan with the ball. Quinlan now assessing his options, looking to leave the ball off. Eventually gives it to Michael Donovan, who got that Galbally goal in the first half. As Rathkeale bringing as many men back as they can, but it's good possession this time from Galbally. But each time a Galbally man catches a ball inside the 45-metre line, he's met with two Rathkeale defenders. Very good defending from last season's side that were relegated from the Senior Football Championship, as Galbally have to be patient in their build-up. They're going to have to work it across. Again, you'd imagine they're looking for an opening, but there's none forthcoming so far. There's a good play here on this occasion. Another long-range attempt from Galbally. It's well blocked down by Rathkeale. Galbally lucky to hold on to possession. It's Liam Casey with the ball to Donovan now. Donovan, will he take off? Try and use the speed and attack this Rathkeale side. That's exactly what it does. It's Donovan with the shot. But once again, that's going to go to the left and wide. And on that occasion, Matt, he had three men inside him in the full forward line. He opted to take on his man, Michael Donovan. This time again, I should say. It's gone to the left and wide.
Yeah, Galbally will be very, very disappointed. They have the first two wides of the second half. Certainly, that was one that in normal circumstances should go over, and it was one that they certainly badly needed. Now they're getting a small bit on top around the middle, but again there are 13 Rathkeale players inside their own 65, like they're defending in absolute packs, and you flagged it there a while ago. Any time that a player gets inside the 45, he's met with 2 blue shirts. Now Ger Ryan is coming up, and it looks to me as if this Jack Donovan is getting ready.
Yes, Ger Ryan coming up to take this long range free for Galbally. James Ryan had possession. He had a long range shot, hoping for the best, but knew he had an advantage. It's going to be Ger Ryan to take this one for Galbally, midway between the Rathkeale 45 and 65. It's Ryan. It's a pretty good strike from Ryan. It's going to drop short though. The ball nearly comes over. It's going to go out for a 45. Ryan was racing back to his goals. He's going to be called upon again to take this. Meanwhile, Galbally, as Matt said, are preparing to introduce Jack Donovan. He's going to come onto the field now. It's going to be Jamie Morrissey that's going to exit the fray. Jamie Morrissey, of course, is the only scorer. Well, he's not the only scorer, he's the only point scorer for Galbally today. That point came fairly early in this game. Morrissey has struggled to get involved in the game since that moment. Of course, in the early stages of this second half, he had that shot on goal. He has been, by the looks of him as he comes close, he's very heavily strapped around the hamstring area and was limping off, so maybe it's an injury that's seen Jamie Morrissey's time today called a shoulder. It's Ger Ryan taking this one. This is a much better strike again from Ger Ryan, and that's Galbally on the board for the second half. Only their second point of this game. 35 minutes played of it, 5 minutes of the second half. Rathkeale's lead now down to 2 points, 7 points to 1-2.
Yeah, it'll be a relief to Galbally to get off the mark. They're probably going to decide now instead of working the ball through, although I don't see Jack Donovan. He normally takes up his position right on the fringe of the square. He seems to be out on the left here. I was suspecting a change of approach here, that they would loft it in on top of Jack Donovan, although he certainly is going to be going in full forward.
It's Rathkeale on the attack, winning a free, and it's Owen Kelly in possession now. Kelly gives it into Owen O'Donnell. O'Donnell, 2 points in the first half, finds one of his midfield partners. On this occasion, it's Mikey Morrissey. Morrissey is blocked down now. It's Galbally going to come away with possession here, and it's Mark Quinlan. Quinlan in possession. He's got a couple of options. He decides to give it to Michael Donovan. Donovan looks to be held back. No free given. Rathkeale in possession again. It has to be said it was a poor enough hand pass from Donovan. And now it's Andrew White in possession. A lovely ball into Cian Shorten. Shorten being marked by 2 men. One of the men is cornerback Frank Cusson, but it's going to be a free. Galbally supporters and management not overly happy with the decision. It was a combination of John Kearns and Frank Cusson, according to referee Jason Mullins, that fouled Cian Shorten. It's going to be another chance for Cian Shorten to add to his 4 points that he's already scored. All of his scores so far coming from place balls. Each one of them, Matt, he hasn't had an easy free yet to date in this game, but judging by what we've seen from him so far, this is one, at this stage, the way he's playing, we'd expect him to get.
The minute I saw it awarded, I felt that he was going to put it in the ground, and he has done just that. He thought for a minute about kicking it out of his hand, but it's that type of free that you could get greater accuracy from putting it on the ground, and it'll be very interesting to see the outcome of it.
It's Shorten now with a fine strike. It's a low enough one, but it goes over the bar, and that's all that matters. That's Cian Shorten's 5th point of this Limerick Intermediate Football Championship final. It puts Rathkeale into a 8 points to 1-2 lead, restores their 3-point advantage. And with 37 minutes played of this game, it's Rathkeale back into a 3-point lead as Ger Ryan takes a short kick out to Owen Halligan. Halligan now has Michael Donovan outside him. That's Donovan who takes possession at the second attempt. Gives it inside to James Ryan with a hand pass, and Ryan looks to take on Shanahan, I should say. It's James Ryan against Shanahan again, and Ryan jinking off his right and left feet. Eventually forced to give the ball back to Mark Quinlan under pressure from Cian Shorten on that occasion. Again, as Matt O'Callaghan is pointing out to me, it's Rathkeale, as you will see on camera, funneling 13 men behind the ball. It's been a feature of the game so far. This is a good run from John Kearns, but it's a poor shot from John Kearns, and it undid all the good work from that run. His run pierced through the Rathkeale defence, but he kind of rushed the shot in that, and it's cool heads that Galbally need to try and bring this 3-point lead back. And that wasn't a cool head from John Kearns on that occasion.
No, and there were one or two options there on this occasion, and we've criticised them in the past for no options being available. But certainly that was a rushed shot. But you're right, he literally carved through the defence, and you just wonder, could he have gone a little further? And had he, it was spelling danger.
Galbally with possession once more, and it's Kearns again. He's looking for a free. Jason Kearns isn't buying it on this occasion. And it's Galbally now under pressure again. It's Jerk Quinlan with the ball. He's forced to go back to Liam Casey, who again in turn leaves the ball off to James Ryan. Ryan pushes Patrick Wilmot aside, and Ryan on the run now from Galbally. He'll be looking to have a greater influence as this second half goes on. James Ryan eventually leaves the ball off, and it's Gary McCarthy with a shot from well over 45 metres, even with the aid of a breeze. And it's Rathkeale coming away. It was Owen O'Donnell who got the block in. It's Owen O'Donnell on the run here. Gives it inside to Owen Kelly. Kelly gets possession at the second attempt. Kelly on the run now. A couple of Galbally challenges beaten. He gives the ball off to Barry Coleman. Coleman now shooting opportunity. Decides to give it to Owen O'Donnell. There's a chance on here. Shorten. Acute angle for Keane Shorten. Can he put it over? The answer to that is no. The angle was too tight. But Matt, another feature of Rathkeale, they've looked so dangerous on the counter-attack. They funnel 13 men back behind the ball with each Galbally attack. But they're, as you've mentioned in commentary, in the first half, a young team that had the legs to burst forward at every single opportunity.
Yeah, and they burst forward in numbers. And as I said at half time, they're going in against the more experienced and the more seasoned players on the Galbally team, and it looks to me that Rathkeale are about to bring in Owen O'Connor, which could be very, very, very significant.
Owen O'Connor, one of their star players over the last number of years, an ace free taker as well, Matt, as we know. But it's going to be a free backup play just outside the 45-metre line here for Galbally, and it's Owen O'Connor, as we said, about to come into the fray for Rathkeale. He's going to be coming on for, I think it's Andrew White, which is an interesting one, Matt. Andrew White coming off the field for Rathkeale. We'll get your thoughts on that in a moment, as Galbally line this free up from with the angle nearly 50 metres for Michael Donovan. Donovan's going to leave it for Jerry Ryan, but Matt, just very quickly, Owen O'Connor for Andrew White. It's experience for experience.
It is. It's real experience, and of course, there's no doubt about it, John. But Owen O'Connor is one of the finest Gaelic footballers that this county has produced for quite a while, and Owen O'Connor was very instrumental in the early part of this campaign in bringing Rathkeale this far. I was surprised when I saw the team sheet and he wasn't on it. That was a fabulous kick by Ger Ryan, and while it didn't get over the bar, it forced the defender to punch it, and I'm not so sure he was trying to punch it to safety, but it went over the bar, and I suppose it certainly was a probing ball. Had somebody like Jack Donovan got a fist to it in there, it could have gone anywhere.
Indeed it could have, as Rathkeale win the free. It's a huge strike from Ger Ryan, great effort from him, and it reduces Rathkeale's lead to 2 points once again in this Limerick Intermediate Football Championship final in the Gaelic Grounds. Brought to you on SportingLimerick.com, our fourth county final in 4 days, live streamed on SportingLimerick.com, as Rathkeale now in possession with Patrick Wilmot. Wilmot, industrious as ever today, as Wilmot has seen a lot of ball throughout the opening 42 minutes of this game. It's Wilmot again, 3 different Galbally players trying to dispossess him of the ball, and in the end it's Owen Halligan that's been blown up. For Matt, it has to be said, a blatant push, and it'll be Rathkeale now who'll slow everything down. It's Wilmot who looks to be taking the free himself. He's got Owen O'Connor alongside him, but he goes all the way back, 30-40 metre pass all the way back to his wing back, and it's Adam Shanaher with possession. Shanaher now giving the ball across to Patrick Sheehan, the captain of this Rathkeale team, up to Owen O'Donnell. O'Donnell scored 2 points, as we've already mentioned. Back to Sheehan. Sheehan now, another build-up. It's been a key feature of Rathkeale's play throughout this game. Slow build-up, but when they need to inject pace, they do. And here they go. It's a poor pass though from Wilmot. That's well intercepted, and it's Cusson comes away with it. Gives the ball back. And it's Galbally on the attack. It was James Cummins at this stage. Now into Gary McCarthy. But once again, he's swarmed around by a couple of 2 or 3 Rathkeale defenders, and are going to have to move the ball quickly. quicker than that are Galbally. It's Cummins in possession now, forced to give it back to McCarthy, and in turn he finds Michael Donovan. It's too slow though from a Galbally point of view, as John Kearns looks to bring some pace into the attack. Kearns taking on Darragh O'Grady. Kearns loses possession, but Galbally should come up with the ball. Indeed they don't. They do eventually. They're looking for a free. This time Jason Mullins gives him a free. Maybe rather soft one. Jason saw something that we maybe didn't, Matt. But either way, it's another scoring chance for Galbally. And remarkably, given Rathkeale's dominance, could only be 1 point between the sides if they get this one.
Yeah, and I think Galbally will be happy with that situation, because I'd say they'll be forced to admit that they played well. Jack didn't play well so far. Now Jack Donovan has just nudged that over the bar with ease, and I think Rathkeale are about to make another substitution down here.
Indeed they are, and it's Josh O'Connor who's coming onto the field for Rathkeale. He's coming on for Kevin Shanahan around midfield. It's Shanahan, who has to be said looked to have picked up an injury in the last couple of minutes. He's limping into the dugout anyway here in the Gaelic grounds. But what a free first touch from Jack Donovan with absolute ease. Matt, as you mentioned, tapped that one over, and Galbally now with only 1 point behind Rathkeale with 44.5 minutes played of this Limerick Intermediate Football Championship. It's Galbally on the attack again with Michael Donovan. Donovan now takes on his man, has the pace to beat Shannon, but a brilliant bit of defending from Barry Coleman. This possesses Donovan on the ball, and away come Rathkeale. Rathkeale now on the attack. Coleman gives it to O'Connor. O'Connor now with 3 Galbally players around. He's managed to wriggle his way through them. A 4th defender comes in, gets it out of his hand. Did Mark Quinlan on that occasion, but it's Rathkeale still in possession now. It's Darragh O'Grady with the ball. O'Grady hand passes it. It's going to start to be a patient build up again. Owen O'Donnell working it out to the right hand side to Patrick Sheehan. He gives it back inside to midfielder Mikey Morrissey. It's a good ball up to the man just onto the field, and it's Josh O'Connor. O'Connor with a shooting chance. It's not a great effort from O'Connor. Straight into the hands on the first bounce to Joe Ryan. And away come Galbally once more with James Ryan. Ryan now with a bit of room to run into. He's got options over on his far side. A superb pass. It should have been caught by Ger Quinlan. He took his eye off it, but he gives it in long, looking for Jack Donovan. Donovan holds off his man, which is Padraig Power, and Donovan is away. You can see how strong is Donovan, looking for a second point. Sid's coming onto the field. That one's gone to the left and wide. But Matt, you've seen straight away here what Galbally need to do to get back into this game. They've brought on Jack Donovan with one thing in mind, purely is to leave him around the edge of the square, give ball into him. He'll hold off any marker. This occasion it went wide, but on other occasions it could prove more successful. It could
prove more successful, and he was very, very unlucky at this stage. And as I was suspecting, we now see Kieran Hickey, and he has come on for John Cairns. But you would have to say, like John Cairns and the 2 lads from Rathkeale that have come off, they have left everything out there, no doubt at all about it. And it is that I think the tactic of it from a Rathkeale point of view was probably to get even fresher legs in at this stage, because certainly the high intensity and the amount of running game that these lads have done, between funneling back, going forward again on the break, very, very energy sapping. But in just that little cameo there a while ago, we saw a glimpse of what Owen O'Connor brings to the team, his experience and his football brain, his football nous. Like there were 4 Galbally defenders. He succeeded in shielding it from all 4 and getting off a pass.
Back with play now. It's going to be a line ball here on this near side in the Gaelic grounds for Galbally. Momentum very much with Galbally at this moment. 17 minutes into the second half. It's going to be a line ball though. And it's going to be taken by Frank Cusson on this near sideline on his own 14-metre line. And he gives it to David Cusson, but it's gone out over the end line. A poor error on the Galbally side. It's going to be a line ball for Rathkeale, who lead by 8 points to 1-4. They're going to be in no rush to take this. They're going to go all the way back. It's Darragh O'Grady's pass. It goes all the way back to Adam Shanaher. Shanaher now. His options available on either side of him, either forward or back. And then Andy gives it to Owen O'Donnell. It's back to Shanaher again. Shane Horrigan's calling for the ball quite vociferously, but O'Donnell and Shanaher are happy to play the ball between themselves before Owen O'Connor is the man who demands possession. O'Connor now on the run for Rathkeale. Faced by Liam Casey, O'Connor decides to find the ball into Owen Kelly under pressure from David Cusson. Kelly beats his man. Kelly now has 4 Galbally men around him. That should leave someone open. Indeed it does. It's Mikey Marcy, that's the open man. Looks for Owen O'Connor now. Owen O'Connor, a hefty enough challenge from Owen O'Connor there. Looked like it could have been a free. Jason Mullins thinks otherwise. Either way, Galbally come away with the ball, and it's James Ryan to Kieran Hickey. Hickey, of course, a member of John Kiley's backroom staff. That ended Limerick's 45-year wait for an All-Ireland hurling championship. That's for another day, though. It's Galbally on the attack with Mark Quinlan. Quinlan now, whose runs like this, his mazy runs have been symptomatic of his day so far, but also has been the end result. It's not the first time he's shot for goal, Matt O'Callaghan, and it's not the first time he's tailed to the right or left and wide.
Yeah, I think Galbally will be very, very disappointed with that, because he just didn't look up, because there were options available. Kieran Hickey was quite near him, who could have taken it and held it up. That was a rushed effort now. Here Galbally back in the attack again.
Indeed they are with James Ryan. Ryan now has players outside him. Is Ryan going to go for it himself? And is that the levelling score? Yes, it is. We said just 5 or 6 minutes ago that James Ryan would look to have a more influential role in this game. He stood up to be counted in the last 5 or 6 minutes, Matt O'Callaghan, and that's just evidence of it. A superb score from the vastly experienced dual star in James Ryan.
Absolutely, a superb score, and it just wasn't 5 minutes ago. We said it before the game that James Ryan would have a big influence in this, like he had in the hurling game. But you must remember that James Ryan was a very, very, very important member of the Limerick senior football team for a number of years. Like he's a very, very accomplished footballer, a very accomplished dual star. But I have seen him through the years. The contribution he has been making to Galbally has been absolutely phenomenal, and we have seen it in the second half that he has controlled a lot of it in the second half. And we said it 5 or 6 minutes ago, he was growing into the game. That was an excellent point. And that was leadership personified, and he took it by the scruff of the neck, went forward, and he said, "Lads, this is how you do it." And it's a free to Galbally, and despite not hitting the high spots, if Ger Ryan puts this over, Galbally are in the lead with less than 10 minutes to play.
Indeed they are. Ryan's already got hit the target once. It's going to tail straight away. That was tailing to the right and wide though, and it looked more, Matt, on that occasion that he rushed that slightly in comparison with other frees he's hit. But either way, it's a let off for Rathkeale. Ryan will trail all the way back to his goalkeeping position now with Johnny Mooney to restart things for Rathkeale. As Matt mentioned, 51 minutes on the clock here at the Gaelic Grounds in this Limerick Senior Intermediate Football Championship final, I should say, brought to you live on sportinglimerick.com. It's all square here in the remaining 10 minutes, as a kick out from Johnny Mooney is eventually won by Rathkeale and Owen O'Donnell. O'Donnell finds Patrick Sheehan, and it's all the way back to Jack Hennessy. Hennessy plays it to Adam Shanaher. Shanaher now operating around the centre back area all game, despite the number 7 on his jersey. It's Owen O'Connor now, the vastly experienced Owen O'Connor, who plays the ball across to Barry Coleman. Coleman now on the run. He's got a man outside him. That's Shane Horrigan. Looks to be a foul inside Noam Kelly. It's play away. It's Kelly eventually who gets it for a rebound off Keane Shorten, the intended target of Horrigan's pass, but Shorten's dispossessed, and Galbally have much more urgency about them in the second half, certainly in the defence, and it's Galbally that have won the free. And Matt, just mentioning that, Rathkeale have definitely found it much more difficult to score in the second half, and it's mainly down to the urgency shown by the Galbally defenders.
That is part of it, but the high intensity that they had brought, and we said it right early on, it was very, very hard to sustain that over 60 minutes. All right, there's a lot of experience. The experience in the Galbally team is weighted at the back, and in this tight situation, and are we heading for a draw? I ask myself. Or is there going to be a hero? Here is Kieran Hickey holding it up as we said he would do. Look, until the man became available.
And it was Hickey that did well to set up a good bit of play and holding on to the possession until a man came in the shoulder. That man was Michael Donovan. But Donovan's shot, again, which has been a tail of the tape for Galbally on so many occasions in this game, was off target. It was a high risk shot, if you want to say that. And it's one that didn't come off from a Galbally point of view. It's Johnny Mooney's kick up, but it's Galbally winning it again. It's Liam Casey who picks up the loose ball and gives it to James Ryan. Ryan now finds James Cummins on this near side here in the Mackey Sand side of the Gaelic grounds. He finds Kieran Hickey. Hickey's had a huge influence since coming onto the field. Shooting chance now for Kieran Hickey, and that's the lead for Galbally. A stunning score from Kieran Hickey, and maybe a bit of a master stroke from Ger Fahy and his management team in bringing Kieran Hickey on when they did. Matt O'Callaghan mentioned it at half time. Maybe the likes of Kieran Hickey and Jack Donovan would come on in the second half. They've done exactly that, Matt, and it's a point each for them. And all of a sudden, with 53.5 minutes played, it's Galbally leading Rathkeale 1-6 to 8 points.
Yeah, and like we did say it at half time, and I felt as the first half progressed that that's what the Galbally game needed, because like certainly they were rather aimless going forward in the first half. Now, all right, that's not to detract for 1 minute from the defensive qualities of Rathkeale, but it is all Galbally now at the moment. And you saw there a while ago the way Kieran Hickey held the ball up for Mike Donovan. All right, he ballooned it wide, but you saw Kieran Hickey made a space for himself. He's a big man, he's an experienced man, and he slotted it over the bar. And a point, like this game is going to be decided on very, very small margins. Here we go again with big Jack Donovan inside.
Big ball in there for Mark Quinlan, looking for Donovan. Donovan was not able to get possession of it though, despite getting to the ball first. And it's Rathkeale now, badly in need of a scorer. Rathkeale with 54.5 minutes played here in the Gaelic grounds. And away they come with Mikey Morrissey. It's Morrissey in possession. On his left hand side is a man, and that man all the way out from half forward is Barry Coleman. Coleman out to Owen O'Connor. O'Connor, most questionably foul there, no doubt, despite the protestations of Galbally. A blatant hand on his back, and it's a man down. It's Liam Casey down in the meantime for Galbally. Casey down here, but it's Rathkeale, and as we just mentioned, badly in need of a score here. They're trailing trailing Ballingar, Galbally by 1-6 to 8 points, 55 minutes gone. As Galbally are preparing Jack O'Mullane, of course, to come into the side, a member of the Gareth Spillane panel that won the Premier Intermediate Hurling Championship last Saturday. It's going to be Owen O'Donnell to take this. He takes it short to Owen O'Connor. Owen O'Connor now just inside 40 metres from goal. He leaves the ball off to Patrick Wilmot. Wilmot now surrounded by Galbally defenders. It comes to Owen O'Connor. O'Connor would fancy himself from this area if he didn't have so many Galbally defenders around. He gives a hand pass in that's brilliantly dispossessed as David Cusson. In the end, it falls out over the end line. It's going to be a sideline ball for Rathkeale. Great bit of defending there from David Cusson, the Galbally midfielder. Did brilliantly to dispossess Owen O'Donnell of possession just as he was about to snaffle that hand pass from Owen O'Connor. It's going to be O'Donnell to take this sideline ball, and he doesn't have too many options. In the end, he's forced to go for a risky one to Marcy. Marcy does brilliantly. Shooting chance now for Wilmot to level it. It's a high one from Wilmot. It looks to be dropping. It's a good effort, and it's a great catch from Gerald Ryan on the goal line. And Ryan has the confidence and composure to find a loose man, and that loose man, it's no surprise to see from Galbally's point of view that it's James Ryan. Ryan inside to Donovan. Donovan, of course, the Galbally goal scorer in that first half. We're in the luminous boots over on that far side here in the Gaelic grounds. As time ticks away here, and Galbally will be happy enough to hold on to this 1 point lead. Nearly 57 minutes played of this Limerick Intermediate Football Final. And Ryan gives it inside to his midfield partner, Kevin Cusson. Cusson to the vastly experienced Hickey, and Cusson takes possession once more. Hickey now with the ball again for Galbally. Hickey again, Galbally just happy to hold on to possession. Matt O'Callaghan, they're in no rush to do anything stupid with it.
Yeah, they have the players now on the field that can hold up to it in this situation. Like you can see the impact that Kieran Hickey has made. That once he gets the ball, it's so hard to take it off him, and he's waiting. Like the pass there from James Ryan was absolutely, the timing of it was absolutely perfect, and you just cannot buy that kind of experience. And like the incisiveness that Rathkeale were showing in the first half, it seems to have deserted them. Now they have found a loose man,
and that loose man is Darrell O'Grady. So O'Grady with a very difficult shot from that hand side, that difficult angle, and that one is tailed to the left and wide, and Galbally are running, or sorry, I should say Rathkeale are running out of time. as Jack O'Malan comes onto the field for Gary O'Doherty on the Galbally side. And it's another change. Kevin Shanahan seems to have recovered from that injury. He's coming in back onto the field for Rathkeale. He's coming on instead of Owen Kelly. Now Donovan, who started the game in midfield, is going straight into the full forward line for Rathkeale. We've just over 58 minutes played of this Limerick Intermediate Football Championship final, brought to you live here from the Gaelic grounds on sportinglimerick.com, as Joe Ryan prepares to take this kick out for Galbally. Ryan will be in no rush to take this one. It's a good strike from Ryan. It'll take us just up to the 65 metre line, but it's Galbally that win possession of the ball, and it's Liam Casey. Casey gives it inside. It's a foul on Ger Quinlan, fouled by Adam Shanahan. And Galbally, as we've mentioned in the last couple of minutes, will be in absolutely no rush to take this whatsoever. It's going to be James Ryan with the ball. James Ryan will look backwards. He gives it a simple pass to Liam Casey. There's going to be 2 minutes of additional time here at the end of this Intermediate Football Championship final, as Liam Casey has possession for Galbally. He finds its way back to James Ryan once more. Ryan now, as Galbally look to take the clock, leave the clock tick down, I should say. 59 minutes played, so that means there's 3 minutes for Rathkeale to get a score that could bring this. Of course, if Rathkeale get that point, we will not have extra time here tonight. There'll be a replay for this final.
It's fixed for Saturday according to the latest fixture list, but with Garrisballan playing in the Munster Club Championship on Sunday, I don't know how that's going to happen. But look, the next 3 minutes is going to be, it's crucial in terms of the outcome of this game. And of course Galbally will be hoping that it will not arise, that they will hold on. Frank Cosanova missed that ball. Had he held it, there would have been some danger for Rathkeale. But now they've turned it around, and it's Rathkeale on the attack.
Indeed it is, and it's Mikey Morrissey who has the ball. Morrissey does well to hold off a couple of challenges. His own O'Connor, and that's a needless foul. O'Connor had lost possession of the ball. Galbally have kicked the ball away as well. It's O'Connor. It's going to be a free chance. It may be O'Connor indeed who takes the free himself. Cian Shorten will also want something to do with it. But Matt, a needless foul there from Ger Quinlan. O'Connor had seemed to be losing possession of the ball, and this is a chance with 30 seconds of added time played for Rathkeale to get the equaliser.
Yeah, it is, and there's a yellow card being shown. A needless free with Owen O'Connor in full flight, 35 metres for goal. May not have been a needless free, because if there was one player you wanted to get into that situation and wanted to get you something, Owen O'Connor was the man.
It's not going to be Owen O'Connor, it's Cian Shorten, who's equally adept as he's shown today from place balls. He scored 5 from 5, and can he make it 6 from 6 to level this game? And the pressure seems to have got to Cian Shorten on that occasion. It never looked like it was a good strike from Shorten on this occasion, and it's tailed to the left and right. Even if it had been on target, Joe Ryan was there to take it. And with 1 minute 20 seconds played of this added time in this Limerick Intermediate Football Championship final, it's Galbally who retained that lead. 1-6 to 8 points they lead. With a minute and a half left, 30 seconds left. The kick is out. It's Rathkeale with possession once more. It's Mikey Morrissey surrounded by Galbally players. That is fouled. It's Shane Horrigan trying to take it quickly, and Horrigan is aimlessly kicked at. He's got lucky, but it's a ball across from Patrick Sheehan. It's Galbally that have it, and Matt, with 10 seconds left in this game, if they just hold on to this ball, the title should be theirs, and return to the senior ranks will be theirs. And it's James Ryan, typical fashion from Ryan, as he's shown all his career. He gives it long, may not have been best employed to do that. It has bounced over Patrick Power's head, and Jack Donovan is onto it for Galbally. Donovan now takes on Power, shooting chance for Donovan. Can he copper? Fastening. It hits the post. Ball falls to Cusson. Cusson with a chance. It's Kevin Cusson. It's blocked by Rathkeale, but it looks Jason Mullins looks at his watch, and that's it. Galbally are Intermediate Football champions for 2018. They've beaten Rathkeale by a solitary point. They're in Limerick Senior, back into the big time for Galbally. They'll be back up in the Limerick Senior Football Championship for 2019. They've beaten Rathkeale here in the Gaelic grounds, live on sportinglimerick.com. Matt O'Callaghan You have to say in the balance of play in the second half, few could argue with that victory for Galbally.
I don't think they could. Once they slowly and patiently they dismantled. But you go back again to James Ryan, and we said it from the outset. What a servant! What a servant to Limerick GA and to the sport that we love, both in hurling and football. Like, he showed it out there again today. And Rathkeale will be bitterly disappointed. For all their running, it was high strategy, and they didn't have the same energy level in the second half, and we flagged that from early on. And Galbally were patient, and at the back, when it came to closing it out, as I said to you, the seasoned players were weighted towards the back, and that was very, very important when it came to closing out the game.
And Matt, it has to be said as well, of course, what a year for the Galbally club. Already mentioned in commentary, Gareth Spillane going back up to the senior ranks now. They're joined by their football counterparts, of course, in Galbally, and of course it has to be mentioned as well, a Galbally man leading Limerick in John Kiley to their first All-Ireland hurling title in 45 years. It doesn't get much better years than that for a club, for two clubs in Gareth Spillane and Galbally. And certainly, Matt, they'll bring something to the senior championship next year in the football and of course the hurling. But just as a quick reflection on a year it's been for Galbally and Gareth Spillane.
Sure. Look, it's a year that you would dream about, and what a contrast in 12 months, John. 12 months ago, Gareth Spillane and Galbally were licking their wounds after being defeated in 2 county intermediate finals, and here they are. And I suppose it's testimony to the character clubs and indeed to the group of players that they have. And even though there was only 2 that started tonight that had started in the county final on Saturday, but there is a substantial crossover if you take the bench and all into account, to this group of players that came back and have won both the counties this year. Galbally certainly, I thought, had a poor start to the campaign. But we've said it many times, trophies are not given out in April. Simple as. They picked up 1 point from the first 2 games. It didn't look good. They drew with Castlemahon, who were subsequently relegated. They lost to Galtee Gales, and deservedly lost to Galtee Gales, who had just been promoted. But they went away and reformed during the summer, and they came back a totally different animal, because they breezed through it with wins over Gerald Griffins, over Mount Collins, and over Rathkeale. And this is their second win over Rathkeale. And very often you get a reversal of the results that you would have in group stages when it comes to the knockout stages, but not on this occasion. And I think they showed tremendous character, because let's face it, John, and you flagged it and I flagged it, in the first half they were seriously under the cosh. No question about that now. They were seriously. Galbally or Rathkeale were running them all over the place. But they dug in there and they had the people to come off the bench when they needed them. I thought they would have brought him in at half time, but I suppose, you know, Jarfahi and his backroom team there, they had confidence on their starting 15, and they left them out. And you will have to note the contribution of Ger Ryan. He went up, he kicked two hugely important points, plus he was rock solid at the back. He will probably be remembered for his 2 points, but he should be remembered for his goalkeeping as well, particularly late in the game there when he took down a ball from under the crossbar, and for, I suppose, the variation of his kick out. And it was a difficult, the kick out was difficult, particularly in the first half when he was kicking into the wind and he was kicking into a Rathkeale team that were on top in most areas. But full credit to him, but full credit to the Galbally management, full credit to the Galbally team. They were under the cosh. They withstood it. They came out in the second half and did what they had to do, and which is to win the county title. And as I said, I thought that Jack Donovan and Kieran Hickey would be introduced earlier, but look, they came on. They played their part. Galbally are champions. Congratulations to them. Commiserations to Rathkeale. No doubt Rathkeale will have their day, and it will be sooner rather than later.
The thoughts of Matt O'Callaghan of the Weekly Observer Vale Star. My many thanks to Matt for co-commentary with me today and over the past few weeks as our season on Sporting Limerick, or GA season, comes to a close here. It's been a cracking final this evening in the Gaelic Grounds, the Intermediate Football Championship final. Stay tuned to Sporting Limerick for more over the coming months. We'll be back soon. Thanks for tuning in.